there again, everybody. Good to see you, even though I can't see you. Hope you like the new intro. Took me a few days to try and figure out the software for that one. Just wanted to do a video today related to The Force Awakens. In light of what we've seen so far with the upcoming Episode 9. And I just thought that, since J.J. Abrams is directing Episode 9, he's going to have a lot of the same people working with him, so it's fair to say that it's, you know, the majority of the same production team. And I think it's a reason for us not to get excited about Episode 9. Now, I know a lot of people out there are automatically going to get excited about Episode 9. Don't do it, guys, okay? I mean, you know, sure, if you want to go and get excited about it, I can't stop anybody, but I'm just trying to help the situation and temper expectations, because when Episode 9 hits, everyone's going to be, again, because it's Star Wars, thinking, oh, this is amazing, this is wonderful, this is Star Wars, we've seen the trailer, we've seen leaked images, we've seen interviews with cast and crew, and we've seen enticing, wondrous images and video clips. Don't be fooled again. Just don't be fooled again. We've had this before with both sequel movies so far. First time that, you know, everyone wondered what the secrets of Episode 7 could possibly hold, you know, what wondrous events are going to happen, and giving us amazing things that we've never seen before, and incredible creatures, and go places we've never seen, but still in the Star Wars universe. It was an amazing thought, an amazing concept. That's what got people excited about the movie. And we got let down, didn't we? Basically, it was complete rehash of Episode 4. It was lazy. It was a complete remake. Yeah, they did things in different ways. They had some new production design in there, but it was all made on the same principle of copying what's come before, copying George Lucas's original movie, and copying what the stories that have come before. You know, we had the planet-sized super weapon, we had, you know, this character that was in place of that character, this droid in place of that droid, this event instead of that event. You know, it was just a mirror image, basically. That's not what we want from Star Wars, is for it to copy what's come before. We want new stories. And this is what the expanded universe gave us for all those years. New, exciting stories with new, exciting characters, taking us to new, exciting places with new, exciting things happening. And with the amount of money at the disposal of Disney and Kennedy Film, it senses me to think that we're getting this substandard dreck, you know? You think they'd be able to pay for the utmost creative minds to put an amazing story in place, the best production design for their ships. What did we get in Episode 7? We got like X-Wings and TIE Fighters, right? Yeah, with a couple of other like little ships here and there that we've never seen before that didn't really do anything, that were really bland and forgettable. And a great example is that snowspeeder on the Starkiller base. You know, that was supposed to be a snowspeeder, I guess. What else are you going to call it? It was in the snow and it sped. But what a bland, forgettable production design that thing was. That was a great opportunity to create an incredible chase scene, really high-octane chase scene with lasers flying everywhere and flying through a forest and, you know, through frozen wastes, and an opportunity for a great action sequence. And we got nothing. It got cut out. And when I saw the special features, or the outtakes on the DVD, there was the scene on screen, and it was like, yeah, I can understand why you took that out. It is boring as hell. And it seems like everything is an afterthought now, you know, in these movies. And it really incenses me when there's people out there with incredible creative minds and talent that are able to completely trump everything that Disney Kennedy Film are doing. Write better stories, create better characters, direct better sequences, you know, better imagination. And they'll do it for free. You know, look at Star Wars Theory. You know, that guy's incredible what he managed to achieve. He's still in his 20s. and he just got the resources together. I mean, a lot of his own resources. A lot of people he knew, he networked and got people together that were all willing to put their time and effort in for no payback other than accolades from the fans. And admittedly, you know, that's what a lot of us real fans want. We just want accolades back from like-minded people. We don't want financial reward for it. We just want to see Star Wars flourish and want to see it, you know, be one of the greatest properties out there for good reason. And what are we getting right now? We're getting a load of identity politics and respect whammon, you know, and no one wants that from Star Wars. No one wants identity politics. No one wants to be reminded of any real-world events. And you bring politics into it. You bring real-world events like, you know, the Trump administration winning the election into Star Wars, things like that. It's going to age the brand so horribly and so quickly. The reason why the original trilogy still lasts now, today, is because it's timeless, because it doesn't deal with real-world issues. And a lot of people might say, oh, yeah, sure, you know, it's political. I mean, it had allegories to the Vietnam War, the Second World War, and all this sort of stuff. And I was like, well, yeah, of course it does. You know, that's the basis of its story. That's the basis of its fundamental foundations of its story. That's why the whole story exists in the first place. That whole battle of good against evil. And it brings back the, say, the events of the Second World War and pushes it far into the technological future, even though it's our past, and creates something completely new. That's not bringing politics or real-world events into a fantasy story. That's using real-world events as inspiration. All the new Star Wars is doing is forcing real-world politics into the new Star Wars stories to suit an agenda and to try and rake in all those the vocal minorities that are out there that create all these identity politics furors. You know, all these protests and all these people that are screaming at Trump rallies and things like that, and you know, these radical feminists. And Disney Lucasfilm, you're trying to pander to these people. You're trying to pander to these people that don't care about the property. They don't care about the movies. They don't care about the merchandise. They don't care about you. All they want is representation visible to the rest of the world everywhere. They just want everyone to know that they're there, and they want everyone to know that they're as big and important and numerous as all the other normal people, which is completely, you know, erroneous, completely misleading. That's not the case whatsoever, you know. Not to say anything against LGBTQ people or homosexual people in any way. I have friends that are those things, and I just think that they need to acknowledge, and a lot of the sensible ones do, that they are in the minority biologically in the world. The majority of people are heterosexual, you know. Of course there's exceptions, you know, we get homosexual animals as well, but they're in the vast minority, and these people want to kind of rewrite reality in a way. And it's reaching so far that it's infecting pop culture, and it's infecting our favourite properties and our favourite franchises. And it's got to stop. You know, the people that own these franchises need to take a stand and notice that it's ruining their brand. But anyway, rant over. I wanted to talk about Episode 7 and what it means for Episode 9. And, you know, I've covered a few issues, but I've got a few things written down that I want to just briefly touch on. Why we can't get excited for Episode 9, because it's made by the same director as The Force Awakens, is the headline. And I think the first point is it will have the same shortcomings as Episode 7. You know, like I said, bad ship designs, no memorable production design. It follows on directly from Episode 8 and won't sidestep Episode 8. Won't sidestep The Last Jedi. And the fact that Kelly Marie Tran is in it and Admiral Akbar is not in it goes to prove that they're not ignoring Episode 7. They're not ignoring the Last Jedi. They're moving directly on from it and using it as the basis for their next movie. So therefore, straight away, the film is fundamentally off to a losing start, because its foundations are crumbling because of The Last Jedi. There's everything, absolutely everything wrong with The Last Jedi. At every single point of that production and execution of that film, everything is wrong, and you use that as a step to spring the next story from, you're going to fail. It needs to ignore everything that happened in The Last Jedi. It needs to ignore it all and write its own story, continuing from Episode 7. Otherwise, it will fail. Because it's gonna, by association, it's going to be infected with the same crap that The Last Jedi suffered from. So that's a big thing. That's a real big thing. Fundamentally, that affects everything else. Luke and Han will be dead. So, you know, you haven't written any better characters than that in Episode 7 or Episode 8. There were no better characters. There were characters that even approached that level of interest and intrigue and fan adoration. And where are you going to go with all these hopeless characters? Yeah, sure, Yoda and Luke might turn up as Force ghosts in it because, you know, officially Luke Skywalker is dead. And there's always a possibility that they might pull the switcheroo and make Luke alive. There's always that possibility. I guess they could technically maybe somehow write that in there. But we really know that's not going to happen. We know that he died at the end of Episode 8. And, I mean, I wish they'd bring him back, but let's face it, we can't expect that to happen. We can't expect that as a possibility because we'll only be let down. So Luke and Han are dead. What characters are there to look forward to? Yes, we'll see Carrie Fisher on screen a little bit before she inevitably gets killed off. Lando's in it, of course, so that's something to get excited about, I guess. But we know that they're going to write him really poorly. We know we're not going to get the Lando that we love because we didn't get the other characters that we love. We didn't get the real Luke Skywalker. We didn't get the real Han Solo. Han Solo was a deadbeat dad, you know? Like, that was never Han Solo. Han Solo would never resort to that. I'm sorry, but that just wouldn't happen. The guy was an utter winner from the ground up. There's nothing that could get that guy down. The same with Luke, you know? He wouldn't have just ran away to hide on some island. You know, at least write Luke with the backstory of, like, he was affected by Snoke or infected some way negatively in the Force, where he forgot his past and all he could do was go and try and refine himself again on this island, and all this time passed without him realising, etc., etc. But they're not even imaginative enough to do that. You know, they'll just try and kind of sweep everything under the carpet and hope that a flashy new movie will win everyone over. Just like the last two movies were big flashy fireworks shows that got people bums in seats in cinemas and raked in that ticket money. You know, and to hell with the consequences. We'll deal with all the plot holes and all the shortcomings and all the poor writing and everything else later. We'll just get everyone in first, get their money, and then ignore all the criticisms. And then if anyone does criticise, we'll just call them racist, sexist, misogynists or whatever later, and try and silence them from shame. So yeah, Han and Luke are dead. Next one, Kylo Ren has been ruined by Rian Johnson, and there are no decent villains. Snoke was potentially a great villain. They could have written him as a fantastic villain, but he's dead now. Pretty much certain that he's dead from the close-ups that we got in the last god-awful Jedi. And Kylo Ren is just a terribly written character. He had so much potential, and he's just been turned into a bratty emo kid who throws tantrums and cries, you know? What is there to look forward to with that character? There's a very small time jump in this movie, which is about a year, I think, from The Last Jedi. So he's got very little personal character development to have made from his horrendous characterization in The Last Jedi and to what we're inevitably going to get in this film. So no decent villains unless they write some completely new characters that overshadow all the characters that have come before. Can't see it happening. Next, it's bound to have a predictable ending since Disney will now be playing it safe after The Last Jedi. So you could say that The Force Awakens was playing it safe because it just copied what had come before. And The Last Jedi might not have been playing it safe, even though it kind of did in a way because it still copied other things from the previous movies. And you get all these fans like decrying criticisms of The Last Jedi, saying, "Oh, you fans, you all cried because Episode 7 was too similar to what's come before, and now you're all crying because Episode 8 is too different." It's like, no, that's not what we're crying. We're crying because it's crap. we're complaining because it's substandard. Don't you see the difference? You know, we're complaining because Star Wars deserves better. Why wouldn't we complain? We love it. Why wouldn't we voice our concerns about that? Why would we just sit there and be silent about it? You know, and just accept what we're being given. We're Star Wars fans. We don't sit down and take crap. That's not what Star Wars has ever taught us to be. You know, it's like stand up for what you believe in. You know, believe that you can make a difference. We're not going to just sit down and shut up and be spoon-fed this crap. You know? So yeah, it's going to have a predictable ending. Definitely. It's going to have a very safe ending where Rey's probably just going to kill Kylo in a battle and then end. You know, and then the ending scene will probably be her training up some kids, because she's now the Lord Master Jedi of the future generations, and everyone's going to refer back to her, not Luke or anyone like that, or anyone that's come before. It's all going to be her. So yeah, that's what we're going to get. I guarantee it. And finally, the books and comics will be used to plug plot holes and patch up mistakes, because mark my words, we're going to get plenty of plot holes and mistakes, because we've had them in both sequel movies so far, with both The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, full of plot holes. You might even call them plot chasms that completely derail the movie and its narrative. A lot of the movie doesn't make sense in both of those films because of these plot holes, you know, which they're hoping people will just ignore and not notice. We're dealing with the same production team that made Episode 7 here. You know, there's a lot of things wrong with that film they could have fixed in Episode 8, but they completely just didn't bother with. So we can't expect anything better with Episode 9 than we had with Episode 7. We're only going to have mediocre. You know, the Episode 7 was a mediocre film. It wasn't bad, but it was mediocre. Star Wars doesn't deserve to be mediocre, it deserves to be excellent. This is why a lot of people criticise the prequels, because they weren't excellent. The last, The Revenge of the Sith was genuinely, I think, worthy Star Wars film. The other one's just mediocre. Even though they're a million times better than what we're getting at the moment. Now, Rogue One, great. Can't really complain about that movie, apart from maybe the characters were just a little bit meh. But on the whole, film was great. I was cheering really in the cinema after watching that movie, and I was so pumped and excited afterwards, and I still am about that movie today, because they got so many details right. The details are the things that matter in these movies. So the books and the comics will be used to fix those details that they're inevitably going to get wrong, because there aren't the right people working on these films. These aren't fans that are working on the films. These aren't people that appreciate what's come before. You know, they just want to pump out movies, get money, force people into the cinemas, and force feed them Star Wars, what they think is Star Wars. You know, hopefully audiences are too smart. Star Wars fans are too smart to fall for that crap again. We've fallen for it twice now. You know, it's like fool me twice, fool me. You know, fool me 3 times. I can't remember how the statement goes now, how the phrase goes. Fool me 3 times, fool you, or something. I don't know. Someone correct me in the comments, please. I need to look it up. But that's all I wanted to rant about today. It's been building and building and building all week, and it's really got on my nerves. The thought that people are now getting excited again about Episode 9, and they're just setting themselves up for this huge fall. Don't let it happen to you. We need to keep pushing against Disney Kennedy Film and what they've done, and make them pay for what they've done. And as Doomcock says, fandom with the wallets closed. Hashtag fandom with the wallets closed. Hashtag without respect, we reject. We've got to reject them because we haven't received any respect from them whatsoever. Okay, so bear that in mind, people. Thanks for watching. And do the old like, subscribe, and hit the bell thing. And I'll have another video coming very soon. And I'll just say goodbye for now. Goodbye from Waffle, the Wookiee bear over there, and by Kathleen Kennedy right there. And I will chat to you in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.